Hey guys, welcome back to Cough Country. This is Steve with your cannabis news. I hope you are subscribed. We got all sorts of news stories for you this week you're not going to want to miss. Today we start off with the linebacker for the Cowboys, Rashan Evans. Got in a little bit of trouble on his home turf. I'll tell you what happened there. Then the DEA is finding they are way behind and they are struggling to keep up. We'll get into that. And finally, cannabis is legal in more states than it ever has been, and now marijuana regulation is coming into focus. I'm going to tell you what it looks like to get tested for a marijuana DUI. All that and more coming to you right now on Cough Country News.
No sticks, no seeds, just news.
From the Cough Country News Desk, it's Steve with your cannabis news.
Poor Rashan Evans was arrested the other day for possession of marijuana and released from the Dallas Cowboys in almost the same day. Some guys got all the luck, huh? Reports say that Evans, who's a linebacker for the Cowboys, was arrested in Frisco, Texas, right outside the practice stadium for possession of 2 to 4 ounces, and the very next day they released him to make room for offensive tackle Matt Willetsko, who's coming off the injured list after a shoulder injury kept him out for most of the season. But they're saying this has nothing to do with his arrest, and that, hell, if he clears his name, he can even come back to the practice team. So this dude is sitting in his car after practice, and he has to know he's getting canned, right? They must have told him this other guy's coming back. And he's just puffing on a joint going, how can this day get any worse? Well, bless his heart, because the officer who was patrolling the garage said he smelled marijuana, approached the car. Evans hops out on his phone, tries to walk away. He stops him and says, Rashan, were you smoking cannabis in your car? How much is in there? And Rashan tells him, yeah, I've got a nug in the ashtray. He straight up tells him, yes, officer, I have illegal cannabis in my car. So now that pesky probable cause is out of the way, the officer searches the car and he finds 2.2 ounces in a vacuum-sealed bag in the center console. Rashan, what are you doing with 2 ounces at practice, huh? And maybe we keep that information to ourselves next time, yeah? Maybe. So, of course, he is taken back to the station and booked for a Class A misdemeanor, which carries a penalty up to 1 year in jail and $4,000 in fines. So, but it doesn't seem to be his day, not even Rashan's year. He only signed on to the Cowboys practice team back in October, and he only made 4 days on the Eagles practice team before that. And since he's been playing, he hasn't really been doing much. He's only had 9 tackles since he started. And to be honest with you, people are a little disappointed in the performance. So what do you guys think? Is he let go because of weed, or is it because he just wasn't cutting it on the team? Let me know in the comments below. Guys, we're going to take one quick break. We're going to hear word from our sponsor. Be sure to check it out, support them, and we'll be back in just a second with more Cough Country News. "30 seconds, that wasn't too bad, was it? Well, we got more news for you here on Cough Country. The DEA is growing more cannabis than it's ever grown, and they just decided that they need more. That's right, the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency, the people said it was illegal in the first place, are doubling their production of THC and psilocybin from magic mushrooms, and they're going for 5 times as much ibogaine, an African psychedelic root that I didn't even know about. And why? Because they are behind the curve. Most states have marijuana laws. Hemp has been legal for years. People are calling for a schedule change, and Congress is having a harder and harder time ignoring the question of prohibition. And as a super illegal Schedule I substance, no one can get a hold of it to study. So the science just comes out at a snail's pace, and people are tired of it. Marijuana reform is at their door, and after a federal judge said they need better reasons to not reschedule psilocybin, they know that they need to catch up. Speaking of catching up, since cannabis is now legal in 38 states, and across the board people are pretty serious about not driving while high, what does it look like getting pulled over for a marijuana OVI? If you've had too much to drink and drive, police can prove that you're impaired, but how do they do that with weed? See, this is where prohibition is biting them in the butt a little bit. There hasn't been much scientific effort put into detecting or evaluating marijuana's effect on operating a vehicle, so nobody really knows how to test for this stuff. But states are trying all sorts of different things. But since the laws generally treat it like an alcohol DUI, they're going to test for it in the same way. Once they decide to pull you over, they're looking for the same signs as drunk driving. And if they feel they have just cause, they're going to pull you out of that car and give you a field sobriety test. Just like they do with alcohol. You're going to walk the line. You're going to stand on one leg. They're going to do the horizontal gaze thing, whatever flair your state puts on the test. And then if you fail that, they can pull you back and give you a blood or urine test. But you better believe that there's an oral test coming. States are putting all sorts of money into developing one, and though nothing is ready just yet, it is on its way. But here's the kicker of the whole thing, right? Studies show that field sobriety tests straight up do not work for testing for THC. 60% of the sober people failed those tests, and on top of that, cannabis stays in your system for a long time. So there's currently no biochemical measure to tell whether or not you are impaired, like we do with a breathalyzer with alcohol. So there is no way to prove that you are too high to drive right now. But since a lot of courts have zero tolerance policies with drug OVIs, it's at their discretion to pull you off the road. And if you test positive, well, doesn't matter if you smoked a week ago or an hour ago, it's in your system, and that's enough for them to put you through whatever process they have in store for you. So what do you guys think? Is it worth it to get high drivers off the road, or should the police let it happen until they can prove it? Let me know in the comments below. Guys, thank you so much for checking us out. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow Cough Country News. We have new stories for you every single day. And be sure to check us out next time, where it's always no sticks, no seeds, just news.